Aloha. Richard, you have CDs here, is that correct? He's really shy about it. If you liked what you hear, apparently he has several really beautiful CDs. So we'll have them outside afterwards, and please support the brothers. So, well, good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Marshala, and I've been asked to host this evening and kind of be the MC. And many of you probably have read in the paper or have heard on Facebook or somewhere that we have handed in over 19,000 signatures. It was truly, truly something because we actually found out that we had 5 more days. We thought the deadline was 1 day, and then we found out we had 5 more days. And so we called out to our petitioners, and we said, okay, guys, let's rock and roll. Let's really get this done so that we have enough of a buffer so any of the signatures that would be invalid because they're P.O. boxes or they're not registered voters, so that we'd have enough of a buffer so that we would make the 8,500 that were required. Well, in that 5 days, our petitioners gathered more than 2,500 signatures just in those 5 days. So if this were a presidential election year and as many voters would show up to vote, we literally would only need 3,000 more people to make this a law. So we're that close. I mean, that's in the voting booth, right? We'd need like 21,500 or something like that. And so I think the people are speaking quite clearly as to their desire to make sure that what's happening is safe, The Shaka movement and all the efforts of the petitioners and the citizens, it's really interesting. We're being characterized as an anti-GMO movement. Right? Anti-GMO. We're not anti-GMO at all. And they say that we are against science. Right? And in fact, we are very much for science, real science, science about what is happening here. So we're not anti-GMO. We are pro-testing. We are protesting? No. I didn't mean that, but it sounded that way after I said it. We're pro-safety because it's very simple. I mean, it's really simple, okay? Chemicals that have never been used on the entire planet, on Earth, chemicals that never existed on Earth before, we're spraying in the open. Life forms that have never existed, like from another galaxy coming in here, landing on Maui, never existed, are just there. And all we want to know is that safe? It's that simple. Where are the soil samples? Where's the water samples? Where are the dust samples? Where are the blood samples from our children, from the citizens living around there, from the workers? None of that data exists. Nowhere. They'll tell you it was, that it's been tested in the labs and that there's all the safety and it's the safest thing. And where's the data right here? None. And so, until we have that data, we say, chill out, stop doing what you're doing. And if we are absolutely certain it's safe, through science, pro-science, well then, continue. And if it's not, well, then you can't do this here because that's what the Constitution says. Not us. That's what the Constitution says. Article 11, Section 1 through 10. So if anyone's against the idea of checking the safety, Joe Marshala, speaking as a private citizen, would say that they are an anti-constitutionalist. Because it's not just a good idea, it's already the law, right? It's already the law. And all we're doing is advocating that the law be followed. I mean, it's pretty simple. So there's going to be all different types of things thrown at us, and the papers are saying that we're using misinformation and fear and aggression. And show me one. I mean, come on, it's not happening. And we're about to see a lot more of that. In fact, one company here that's pretty prolific in Maui County has already purchased over $1 million worth of airtime for October. So be aware. Now, the way Jackson County, if you hadn't heard, one of the other counties, the way they who just passed the GMO bill, the way they dealt with it was their campaign, one of the main things in their campaign is, we don't believe your bull. It was as simple as that. So, something just came to our awareness just the other day. Now, I'd like you to imagine for just a moment, if you have an 8-year-old child, or if you know an 8-year-old child, how would you feel if someone came into your child's classroom and told you to imagine that someday your cupboards are going to be empty, that your cupboards won't have the cookies and the chips that you like. And the reason they're not going to have the cookies and chips that you like is because it's too much work for the farmers to grow them, and that the only way you could ever have the chips and cookies you want is if genetic engineering is used. It's pretty despicable, right? I mean, it's like, that's what happened. And that's what's happening right now. In Kapa'a School in Kauai, the University of Hawaii Extension Program, funded by, according to the paper, $20,000 from Monsanto, have created personalized comic books that they are handing in the schools to 8-year-old children to influence them. Now, they'll say that, we're having children believe that they're scientists and they're thinking about being some. Well, that's great. I mean, yeah, we need science and what have you. But there's a lot of other things that are happening. So be aware. Be aware. Eventually, you're going to see a site that we're going to be calling Spot the Lies. And we're going to have contests, and we're going to have everybody watching the papers and watching the stories, and you might win a trip to Kauai or something, And but we're going to, everyone to be aware, because this happens. I mean, it's to be expected nowadays, right? So that's kind of the introduction. I'm really glad that you are all here. Give you a little overview of the evening, because we got to get it started, because there's a lot that's going to happen. Several years ago, I did something called the High Frequency Tour. And I traveled the United States and Canada, and we did a live television show. And it was also streamed. We had, by the end of the show, over 600,000 people watching on a weekly basis worldwide. And the idea behind the show was that it was an empowerment program for people, where anyone who came to the theater where we were doing the show got 3.5 minutes to share their highest frequency message, gift, or vision with the world. And then a little video was made, and that was put on the website, and then they could share that on their Facebook and with all their friends and stuff like that. So, in about 3 weeks, the county council begins to deliberate. Once this is on the ballot, then the county council gets 60 days to deliberate and contemplate whether or not they would like to put this ordinance immediately into law or pass it on to the voters. Now, during that time, there'll be a couple different public testimony opportunities where you have to show up at like 8:30 in the morning, and if you've got to work, you can't go, I guess. But, you sign up and you get in line, and then you wait all day for your turn, and you get your 3 minutes to share why you would like to see this bill turned into a law immediately. And so they get to see maybe 20 people a day or something like that, and maybe 30 if it's really packed and they go long. But there's only going to be 2 times where that happens. throughout those 60 days. So we decided we're going to do the public testimony tour. And we're going to be going from city to city, gathering hundreds upon hundreds of public testimonies. We hope to get 1,000. All of those will be on the website. They'll be sorted by teacher, by profession, by doctor, by whatever. And you can sort through them, look at them, watch them. We ask everyone to share those. So the spirit of the public testimony tour is, though, that we really want to support the people who are standing in their power and really sharing their truth. And so what happens, we're going to do a little demo tonight. We're going to film that, create a commercial for it, so that then everyone on the island will be aware of what we're doing. And so we have 5 really brave citizens who are shaking in their pants off stage right now because they're not public speakers. And we want to encourage them and love them and support them. And so what's going to happen is that before they come up, I want everyone to, to cheer and to just really give them all the love you can and alohas and yoo, and then they'll give their thing. And when they're done, we cheer them on. Thank you so much for sharing. And as they get off, the next person will come on, and we're going to go through 5 people that way. So does everyone understand? We really want to support them? Yeah? And then, what's that from, some movie? And then, before that, though, we have a really important video that we want to show you. And then, after all of that, there's this guy in town named Jeffrey Smith. And Mark Sheehan will be giving an introduction to Jeffrey. So to get started, this is it's a really important video that I think all of us will learn a great deal from. So if we could have the house lights brought down just a little bit, and we'll start the video.
So ladies and gentlemen, at TED we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not 2 nuts, 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over-glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy was first, and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in. And what a perfect place to do that at TED. Thanks.
our lone nut, Bruce Douglas. And his first follower, Satya. Where are you? Woo! And all our petitioners. Let's hear it for our petitioners. And 19,000 citizens island-wide. Bruce is the nut who had a vision. And then she had to start dancing next to him, and I couldn't be the guy outside, you know. And one by one, everyone joined. And then dozens by dozens, and then thousands by thousands. And it's all to preserve our land and to protect our children. So, you know, thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Satya, and thank you, everyone who's made, and the 5 citizens who have come forth, and you'll be able to meet one of them tonight. A couple of them are off island, and so they all couldn't be here. But we have, yeah, I understand. We had, you know, when you bring forth a law, an organization can't do so. It has to be citizens of Maui County. And there needs to be 5 of them. And 2 of them are here with us tonight. And so, Bonnie Marsh, can you stand up so we can honor you for being one of the 5 citizens? And Mark Sheehan. Where are you, Mark? Stand up, please. There we go. In the face of so much, you know, there's fear that comes up. There's all these different things that come up. These citizens stood up and said, no. As Alika says, enough already. So, Bruce, you wanted to say something to the county council members who are either here or who will be observing and contemplating this bill.
Did we have any county council people here? Any? Ellie? Ellie? Well, she tried to come. What we really hope is that the county council will take this forward and will actually debate it and bring it before the council floor. This is an important public debate, public discussion, and we hope, we pray, and we ask the council and all of us join in to please bring this forward and debate it and discuss it and make it a public forum, hold the public hearings, and for the benefit of all.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. So that was a little crazy, huh? They don't know what to do with us. And so we would like to, you know, welcome the members of the biotech industry who are visiting us here tonight. Not sure if you would be willing to identify yourselves, but, you know, there's a distinction that we make. You know, the individuals who are blogging and the individuals who are, you know, working to convince the public that they're just not smart enough, that if they only understood, then you wouldn't worry about it. I mean, literally. The difference between, which you may have heard me say this before, between those individuals working for the industry trying to tell people that we're just crazy, and us, those of us sitting in here, is that they are getting paid to be here. Yeah? None of us are getting paid. So, and another distinction is that it seems as though most of the information that they'll be sharing with you comes from a single source, and that is their employer. Where we have thousands of very credible sources, dozens of very credible countries, and all the resources that they have available. So, without further ado, remember we had a little discussion before about these 5 citizens coming up to share their testimony. Yeah? Yeah? Right? Okay, everybody, you getting ready? Can you feel that energy building? All right, so we got Joe Ritter who's going to get up and he's going to start it. So let's hear it for Joe. Woo! Joe! Get close to the mic. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Dr. Marshala. It truly is my privilege to stand before you and speak as a private citizen to defend the future of Maui. Some of you know me, some of you don't. My doctorate's in astrophysics, but I've been an interdisciplinary scientist in a half a dozen fields since I was 11. I've worked in the fields of teratology, which is birth defects research from the Greek teras, meaning monster. I've worked in genetics. I'm not anti-biotech. I'm not anti-GMO. I flew a genetics payload on the space shuttle on STS-91. I grew up on a farm. I learned to work on a farm. I'm 100% in support of local Maui resident farmers and their rights. Maui is my home. Although you may know me from my NASA think tank work or as a university astrophysicist or an expert in light and pollution serving for the county as the chair of a county board, I actually began my scientific career co-authoring several peer-reviewed publications in the field of teratology, looking at birth defects. Years ago, I also had a faculty appointment at the College of Agriculture in Hilo. I'm a far better physicist than agronomist or biochemist, but I have some small knowledge in the fields that concern us tonight, the fields of Maui. On the transgenic GMO research fields of Maui and Hawaii, we see widespread application of cocktail herbicides and pesticides with as many as 80 components, where claims of safety for research studies are often based on tests of only a single ingredient, not the combination cocktail applied to crops, and through runoff and drift, and through eating applied to us. 30 years ago, I developed a novel artificial intelligence program for mining data from decades of birth defects research studies. So at the age of 19, I was a keynote speaker at the 61st meeting of the Mid-Atlantic Reproduction and Teratology Society. That was so long ago, I have to read this. So in front of over 700 experts in the field of birth defects, I was asked to be the keynote speaker. So I know a little bit about what we're concerned about tonight. Our team's peer-reviewed, published research addressed these chemical cocktail combinations. We used Wistar rats as a test model for human reproductive systems. We found significantly increased damaging effects from administering multiple chemicals at the same time. Often, a single chemical is considered safe. It would cause low or no harm statistically. But if multiple safe chemicals were given together, we would see upwards to 50 to 100% of young being born malformed or not being born at all, being dead. Toxicity can be multiplied by over a factor of 1,000 by simple combinations of chemicals. This is not speculation. This is peer-reviewed science. This has been known for over 30 years. This is not news. But apparently it's news for us on Maui. So these devastating effects, these were tremendously helpful for our understanding of biochemical pathways for birth defects. This was really fantastic for the research, and of course devastating for the animals that all died. 30 years of science clearly shows the chemicals administered together have a multiplicatively bad effect on embryos. This dangerous and potentiative 1,000-fold increase effect of herbicide and pesticide chemical cocktails is what terrifies me, and that's why I'm standing up here tonight speaking out. You heard these foods and chemical practices are safe. I talked to somebody the other day. They were smart, and they said, oh, well, I heard it was safe. I reject that. It is undeniable that combined doses can have significantly increased health effects that tests using single components simply cannot reveal. And we know this from 30 years of peer-reviewed research in the field. And none of the food we'll hear about tonight has been tested on humans. No human testing. None of these chemical cocktails with not 1 or 2 or 3, but 70 or 80 combinations, not one of them has been tested on humans. Not one. Why? I don't know. The EPA and the FDA do not require it. I think that is a crime against humanity. Safety claims based on 0 human tests and tests of only single chemicals are not valid or convincing to those who understand the fundamental science. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I do not work for Monsanto, and fortunately, my job as a scientist is not contingent on whether or not I believe in Big Ag's poisonous practices. I urge you to make proof of safety a part of our law in Maui. Good science, real science, tells us the combined restricted pesticide use for transgenic test crops here on Maui is potentially devastating. Do not, please do not, let the corporation propaganda sway you. We must be good stewards of our land. Your health, as well as mine, is at stake. I'm a citizen, and I'm a scientist, and I know what I'm talking about. I support this noble initiative to defend the people of Maui from toxic corporate abuse. The state constitution is clear in directing our public officials, none of which are here tonight, to preserve our health and natural resources. And if they won't, then we must both elect new officials and act ourselves. Plato said the price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. I will not sit back. And if they won't, then we must elect new officials so that they will act. The primary election is on August 9th. It is our Ohana's opportunity to stand up, and then the election in November is our opportunity to protect ourselves. If we all work together, we can steer this canoe in a fresh direction where a vision for the future, not for profit, guides us forward. In 73 days, on August 9th, Maui will put the corporations and lobbyists on notice that Maui is not for sale. Then in November, thanks to your hard work and to the work of my friends that I proudly stand with, for the hard work of all of the volunteers from the Shaka movement and the nearly 20,000 citizens who have signed on, just that many so far, we will all stand up in November. We will stand up for future generations of mankind and say, prove it is safe. Thank you.
Okay. And let's hear it for our next citizen. Let's keep it going. Woo! Say your name and then get started, okay? There you go.
Wow. First thing I want to open up with is thank you for making me feel comfortable and seeing. And then just seeing like-minded, crazy people out there. Just yeah, and thank you, Shaka Movement, for calling me off from the fence. Mahalo. Thank you. Okay, my name is Richard Dansil. I was born up in Kilkea, over here on Maui. And my siblings was born up there too, and my parents actually worked up at Kula Hospital. My mother worked up at Kula Hospital for 44 years. My father worked 40 years. And I have a sister that, her name is Margie. She passed away at age 58. And my brother Rocky passed away at age 45. My mom passed away at age, she only was like 74. And my father was 65 when he passed away. All of them from cancer, except for my brother Rocky. He died from enlargement of the heart. So I kind of questioned that. You know, we all worked out in the fields. And working with, you know, poison or chemicals was a common thing over here, you know, for us local people. We would mix Roundup. I remember, you know, in school, we used to help out the custodians mix Roundup, and we used to use a sausage can, you know, that was our measurement, and mix them to 1 gallon water. So that was our lifestyle. So everything became the norm. Like what I try to say is that everything was just there. That I never realized that I was born in a Petri dish. You know what I mean. And and then for really look at it, have I actually been on experiment? You know, over here. I went to a lot of funerals. I can tell you that, and then I know a lot of local people can say that too. And I just want to thank you for this awareness over here. And the thing is that we have to attract our local brothers, sisters out there, because they're still caught up in the system. And then this is a hard thing. And then when we approach, thank you, when we approach, you know, the local people, yeah, we go forward with compassion and just reflect, you know, what we're doing, and just, yeah, just bleed that aloha spirit, you know, just attract them in one, and that way we can attract them in one way that we can give one awareness to them and tell them, hey, that's the wrong way you're going. This is the way, this is the right way. And I just want to close it off just to tell everyone just to keep it pono, keep it righteous. And just to paraphrase what Cousin Alika said, enough already, just enough. I tired already. But to everybody out there, keep up the good work and keep the fire burning. And mahalo, mahalo. Thank you, everybody. Aloha, mahalo.
Come on up, Dad. Okay, we have another one. Keep it going. Woo! Just say your name and then get yourself started. Okay? There you go.
Aloha kako, everyone. My name is Pat Simmons Jr. Came all the way from Piahi. I was raised in the upper regions of the Ahupua of Piahi and east of Ulumalu. And 4 months ago to this day, I was sitting in the chemotherapy room with no hair and the IV in my arm. And I can say I'm cancer-free today. I don't particularly know how I got testicular cancer, but I can say that I strongly urge this movement to keep pushing for a GMO-free Maui, because I really want to see my children's children live a healthy lifestyle, a healthy life, you know, free of disease and free of cancer. And you know, I swim in the ocean almost every day. I surf at Hokipa and swim in Twin Falls every day almost. And you know, I see a lot of Roundup being sprayed all over. I see all kinds of poison being used on the sugarcane fields and the Monsanto fields in the south side. And you know, when it rains, all that stuff flows into the ocean, you know. So, you know, I've been swimming in that ocean almost my whole life. And you know, could it be why I have cancer? I don't know, but I know that if we continue to use pesticides on this island, that the ocean is going to be, you know, that we swim in every day is going to have choke poison in it. So we got to really respect the ocean and the land that we live on. And this morning I was surfing at Hokipa, and I saw at 5 a.m. this morning I saw a honu have all kinds of stuff, all these cancerous growths on it. I don't know if it was cancer or not, but it looked like something. Almost 90% of the honu I see have all this growth on them, and I didn't see that as much a long time ago when I grew up here. And could be from pesticides, I don't know, but we need to keep our aina clean, and I do know that pesticides are carcinogenic and can lead to cancer, so we need to educate our youth and more people about standing up for our rights as Ohana on this island, and not be afraid to speak out, because we're all in the canoe together. Mahalo for having me.
Keep it going, keep it going. Here comes Jerry Dameron. Say your name and then go ahead and get it done.
Aloha, Ohana. Well, Joe asked me about 3 minutes before this started to get up and talk, so what am I going to talk about? I'm Jerry Dameron. Been on Maui for 2.5 years. I lived in Boulder, Colorado for 28 years. Yeah, where I was heavily involved in the renewable energy business, grew solar energy companies, wind power companies, and I've always been about sustainability and protecting the Aina and protecting our future, and it's always what I've been called to do. When I came here 2.5 years ago, I came for a conference out in Kipahulu, and I thought I was there for 9 days and to hang out for 10 days in Maui before I was moving to California, where some friends thought I was going to start a $100 million green venture capital company, the 405 and Santa Monica and all that. After 5 days of going around the perimeter of Maui and finding little places to put my tent at night and waking up in the morning by the ocean, I just was totally called by Maui to be here. And 2.5 years, I love Maui, and this is my home, and this is what I want to see be a paradise 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And I'm very devoted to that, and so are all the people in this room, and that's what's very exciting. My girlfriend, Debbie Smith, who's been in Hawaii for 15 years, she and I launched a group last year called the Go Green Culture Foundation, and it's all about sustainability. And when we met with Joe and with Bruce and with Satya and with Heather, we really resonated with the purpose and the mission of the Shaka movement. And I want to say I am so proud of 19,237 citizens who signed to take a stand for the health of our community in the future. How about that, huh? How many people here brought in one signature at least? Yes. How many people brought in 50? Whoa. How many people brought in 100? Awesome. Well, we had such a great time connecting with people, petitioning out in front of Mana, going up and down our street, canvassing and meeting our neighbors and talking about this issue. And I'm so proud of all our petitioners. I'm so proud of Satya and Heather. How about some powerful women leaders, right? Right? And how about the men that stand behind them, Joe and Bruce, right? Anyway, the reason we got involved and the reason we're so excited about the next, 6 months, 5 months? Yeah. This conversation amongst our Ohana is going to continue, and it's so enlivening to talk to people who don't know about GMOs, who don't know about sustainability. The organization that Deb and I work with, we're devoted to the 5 pillars of sustainability. Who thinks here that we deserve to have 100% renewable power throughout Hawaii? Yeah. Yeah. Okay? Who here believes that now, with our 15% grown in Hawaii foods, that we should shift that to 85% of our food grown in Hawaii? How many people believe that the workers at Monsanto deserve to be protected, just like our keiki, just like our elderly? The workers of Monsanto are dying at age 60, 62, 64, and this is hush-hush. And we need to bring it out. We need we need Sam Small. How about Sam Small? Sam is a super, super talented media guy, 9 years in New York, running Prudential, blah, blah, blah. He's here on Maui devoting his time to do these great videos for us. We need Sam or another videographer to go to Molokai and start talking to the widows and get this on film, because Monsanto is not talking about it. So we deserve 85% grown on Maui food. We deserve 100% renewable energy. And guess what? Lanai is on its way, and I was there at the conference when the mayor of Kauai signed the agreement that they're going for 100% renewable power in Kauai by 2020. And guess what? We're going to be right behind them, okay? Maui's right behind them. The workers of Monsanto deserve what we call green-collar jobs, jobs that are safe for them, jobs that contribute in a positive way to their community. Monsanto grows seeds that go off-island. They don't grow any food for our ohana, none, zero. No nutrition, no support of our ohana, of our keiki. It's all off-island. The other thing that we're really devoted to is a concept of collaborative community. And what I want to tell you is I'm so inspired from what I've seen in our Shaka movement. The people are so sincere, and we really love each other. And we really support each other. And this is going to continue. Joe and Satya and Heather and Bruce have gotten us together, and we're going to prevail, and we're going to win in August and win in November, and we need to expand our ohana. More and more people coming together in support and mutual caring about our future, and we are a force to be reckoned with for the next 10, 20 years. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more. Actually, two more, and then we'll be on to the next set of the EV. So let's hear it for Zen Powers.
Aloha no kako. Hello everyone, my name is Zen Kekoa Powers. I'm from North Shore, Maui. I'm here today to speak on behalf of my support for this Citizens Ballot Initiative for a temporary moratorium on GMO crops. I'd like to share with you all a little bit of my background. I was born here on Maui and grew up on some of the most productive organic farms on the North Shore and out in Kipahulu. I also have grown up going back to the Midwest, where my father and his family are from, practicing monocropping conventional agriculture. So I've experienced the full spectrum of how people generate and grow food for the world. And I've seen the quality of life in both cases. From my experience, it's a lot better to be growing a diverse amount of food that doesn't have to be shipped long distances with the use of petroleum, and is nutritious, delicious, and local. And for folks doing the monocropping thing, very different than what Mother Nature usually does, having a diversity, and poisons the land. It takes a lot of the nutrients out of it, depleting the soil, and there's a tendency to use what we call NPK fertilizers, using nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. This creates a plant that grows quickly, is green, and creates a fruit that's usually mostly full of water and sugars and things. Because the plant has to grow, it's forced to grow quickly, it doesn't generate complete proteins, which we digest and is nutritious for us, but pests can actually, they eat incomplete proteins, so these crops become susceptible to pests and disease. I'm here tonight really to speak on behalf of those whose voices aren't heard. Many of the local people of these islands, they spend more time out in the country to themselves with their, hands in the soil, and they're pretty jaded by the white people's ways, and so not feeding into this whole system that we're using to create a government by the people for the people, and also for those generations that are yet to be born. And I really would like to think that my ancestors made good choices and to create a world that is beneficial for my life, and we currently have the ability to make a stand and be heard. So I ask you all, Ela Ku, rise and stand, be counted. This is a really important time to use the power of your voice and make a difference here. I have an auntie who shared with me a little of her mana'o that resonates as truth for me. And she says that those who come to Hawaii and live in a balanced way, they could be considered Hawaiian. But those who are born and raised here, we are Hawaii. And so our state motto, Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono, could translate as life perpetuates through a balanced relationship with the land. So we need to be living in a harmonious way, using things, pesticide to kill something, poisons within a system that we're receiving our nourishment from is pretty kapuka'i. So anything that has to do with that, I'm strongly against, and I'd like to see this go through, and as Joe says, it has already happened. And so that's the way that I'm walking with it today, and mahalo nui for all the hard work you guys have put forward to bring us to where we now are, and keep on keeping on. Aloha no.
The next generation, ladies and gentlemen. And Rebecca? Where did Rebecca go? There she comes. This sister is single-handedly doing some of the most incredible things that you're about to hear. So let's hear it for Rebecca, everybody.
Just say your name and then do your thing.
Thank you. Aloha no. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. It's a little nerve-wracking for me to speak, so if I look at my phone, it's just to kind of keep track. I also was just asked to speak briefly. For those of you that don't know me, I have the honor of working with 42 schools throughout Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. And thank you. And my job has been to connect the children back to the land and back to the food and back to the wisdom that lives and grows there. And thank you. And so it has been quite an amazing process to work with all of these children and to watch the way that they learn from this land, connect with this land, watching them reach their hands deep into that soil and touching back into their ancestors' past, into that deep wisdom that lies there. And the last thing I want to think about when I watch them reach their hands into that soil is about these 80 pesticide combinations and things like this. It's a sacred moment for them. And so there's these moments that through working with them over and over again, they call me auntie, and I don't take that lightly. And so when I watch them single file into line, going into the lunchroom to be fed this food that is this genetic roulette, there's moments that I want to pull the fire alarm and let them out of there. And there's moments right now for me where I work also mostly right now with the lowest income communities. And as much as I want to share with them to, learn about boycotts and, talking about the reason why organic food is so much better for them and eating responsibly, in my heart of hearts, I know that their only responsibility for that day is to quiet the growling in the bellies of their children and to figure out how they can make a bag of ramen feed a family of 4. And so I'm really here today because I don't want this movement to just be for the ones that are privileged enough to choose the GMO-free food. And so really on behalf of all of the children that have never had that privilege of eating a piece of fruit that doesn't have pesticides on it, on behalf of all the children that are going to these schools, and on behalf of all the children that are trying to learn a new way, that are trying to listen to that ancient wisdom of the land, I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for petitioning, for standing outside of stores day after day after day. You guys have inspired me. And as I've worked with these kids, I've checked as soon as I get home to see what's been happening, and I'm just so deeply inspired by this movement. I feel like someone mentioned, thanking Monsanto because it's activated us all. It's brought us all together. It's helped us really recognize that we are an ohana, that, we are all on this canoe together, and what we do or what we don't do impacts where we're going. And so I also want to encourage all of you to not let this be the end, that this just be the beginning. We've turned in the signatures, and now where do we go from here? Keep on being a squeaky wheel. Keep on burning your ember as bright as you can. We have an impact we make with our voice and with our questions and with going to our restaurants and asking what is local, asking if what is GMO, asking these questions. If your businesses support your local school or community garden, please. If you have children, ask what's happening with their school garden. Ask what's happening with that wisdom, because the thing is, we are raising up these new leaders, and we want these new leaders to know how to hear the land, how to hear that wisdom. And so keep on making noise, keep on doing what you're doing, keep on sharing, and thank you all so much. Aloha.
Receive your family. Stay here. Stay here. I want to share something that Rebecca would be too proud to share with you. When she began this program helping all these schools and working in the inner cities, they had grants that were funding them. And unfortunately, those grants dried up. So instead of abandoning the children, she and one other sister have been maintaining the program out of their own pockets, taking care of all these children. I know. I mean, one day, yeah. And it literally comes sometimes to whether or not she can buy food for herself or buy gas so she can go take care of the kids. So Shaka Movement is about to start doing some crowdfunding, and we've set aside in that crowdfunding in our budget to provide at least $60,000 for her and several other people as part of the Shaka Movement outreach program. So, to encourage this type of activity in our communities, we encourage you either talk directly to Rebecca before you leave this evening, or if you make a donation to Shaka Movement, to do so with the earmark, what do we want to call it? The Children Fund? Yeah, call it the Children Outreach Fund. So that, I mean, she's doing it, guys. I mean, literally, for over a year now, out of her car, you know, struggling to keep it alive, to take care of these beautiful people. So thank you so much, Rebecca, and God bless you.
We're going to get you taken care of, baby.
So how was that, huh? Yeah. So in a couple weeks here, we're going to start looking the papers, sign our email list, check the website, check the Facebook, all that, and you'll start getting a list of the cities, when and where we're going to be there. We want to hear from everyone. There's nothing that's too silly. There's nothing that's too unimportant. If you want your voice to be heard, it will be watched by the world. The world is paying attention to what we're doing now. We put out a press release, and over 5,000 news sources worldwide pick us up and share it with their readership. So we want the world to hear our voice, and the world wants to support us, but they need to hear our voice in order to do so. So please participate in the tour when it comes our way.